And so we finished last time we're on the second chapter of Pirki Avot, and we learned the third Mishnah talked about Rabbi Gamliel, and Rabbi Gamliel. We learned some of the ideas from Rabbi Gamliel, and now we're going to learn from Hillel. But let's finish. There's two more things about Rabbi Gamliel. Said, I think we went over this, but we'll go over quickly. You should make God's will like your will. Make God's will. In other words, force yourself to do what God wants. Because then you will really want to do what God wants. And as at first, you have to force yourself to impose God's will on yourself. You have to force yourself to do what it says in the Torah and to, eat kosher food and keep the Shabbat, even though it's not a natural thing for a human being to eat kosher food. Only what difference does it make if you're eating a chicken? The chicken has to be slaughtered in a certain way. It doesn't have to be slaughtered. You took the blood out. You didn't take the blood out. Well, that's not natural. So you force yourself to do what it says in the Torah. And then after that, Yaseh Ratzoncha, then your will really be that, hey, I want to do what God wants, right? God is not just a religious figure. God is really creating me. So I want to do what God wants. Then your will be like God's will. Next, negate your will before his will. It was things that you really want to do and you know that they're not right. Force yourself not to do it, right? And it could be that it's not even a sin. You just know that it's not a right thing to look in a certain place, to say certain words. In order that other people who want to do bad to you, their will be negated in front of what you want. In other words, that your enemies will stop desiring to be your enemies. That's one explanation. Okay, that was the end of Rabbi Gamliel. Let's do Hillel. Hillel says, Al tifrosh min hatzibur. Do not separate yourself from the congregation. Don't be a loner, a hermit. What's it called? Can't remember what the word is. There's a good word for it. Anyway, don't separate yourself from everybody else, and be sorry, there's a word in my mind and I can't think of the word, but you understand what it is. Don't separate from the congregation. Live your own little private life. Be part of the congregation. Al tamin b'atzmecha ad yom motcha. Do not believe in yourself until the day you die. What does that mean? It means that a lot of times we want to do things and it's not the right thing to do. And a lot of times we want to do things and it's against what God wants. So, okay, there's one aspect that a person might want to do things, let's say in business or make bad choices in life and go out drinking and go do this. And he really wants to do it, but it's the wrong thing to do. So he shouldn't trust himself. But then sometimes people can get themselves together and they don't go out and do these, negative, destructive things. But on the other hand, there are things that they are sure that they can call the shots. They want to quit their job. They want to divorce their wife. They wanted to go and tell their next door neighbor off. They wanted to get angry to this. It says, and they're 100% right. They believe that they are right and they're logical and they do have good reasons. Nevertheless, don't believe in yourself until the last day of your life. Go take advice from others. Ask people if this is really the right thing to do. Have someone that you can confide in. Have a rabbi that you can ask questions to. Don't believe in yourself. Don't call the shots on your own. We see that there's tragic. There are some that are just ridiculously tragic. Of course, maybe the most outstanding one is Yerovam ben Nevat. That Yerovam ben Nevat was actually chosen by a prophet to lead the 10 tribes, to divide Israel, and to separate 10 tribes from the other 2 tribes. And he was a holy person, a great person, a genius. There was nobody even close to him in his whole generation, according to his genius and his charisma and his power. And he, just on his own, he made 2 golden calves and threw the whole entire 10 tribes into idolatry for like 250 years. And it says that he sinned and made everybody else sin. But he did it all because he trusted himself. So it comes to show you there always has to be a little tiny doubt. Maybe I'm not doing the right thing. Maybe I'm not doing it. And you see that basically all the wars and all the terrible things that happen in the world happen because of people that are sure of themselves. Here, just take an example. Another example. All the religions in the world, all of the religions in the world, they're all based on people that were inspired, people that had, how do you say, visions and experiences, and they were sure, and everybody agreed with them. They had hundreds of followers, thousands, millions, billions of followers, people following after them, and they were wrong. All of the religions in the world are wrong. Who would believe such a thing like that? They're all wrong because people were 100% sure of themselves, right? That's why anti-Semitism. People hate the Jews. Why do they hate the Jews? I don't know, but they're sure 100% they hate the Jews. The Germans hate the Jews. Who they hate it, right? The Italians, the church hates the Jews. They hate the Jews, right? What do they hate the Jews for? I don't know, but they're sure 100% they hate. That's what it says. Don't trust yourself until the last day of your life. When is the last day of your life? Nobody knows. So therefore, you can never 100% be sure of yourself. You always have to check yourself. Nowadays, in this world that we're living, to be sure of yourself is the greatest thing in the world. There's nothing better than greatest, right? A man thinks he's a woman. If that's the way you feel, then you're right, right? If you feel that right, then you're right. It's ridiculous. If a person feels that he's a dog, he's not a dog. The fact of the matter is he's a sick human being that he thinks that he's a dog. The same thing is if a person too much believes in himself, he can come to ridiculous conclusions and ridiculous ends. Therefore, it says, don't believe in yourself until the last day that you die. And we also have a thing in our mind called the conscience. A conscience also is our guide. A conscience, sometimes even when you're alone, your conscience can tell you what to do. Right? Okay. Sometimes the conscience also can go haywire. In communist Russia, if a person didn't turn his parents in because they had a couple dollars, rubles or something under the pillow, so he was considered to be an enemy of the people. Their conscience bothered him. He has to turn his parents in. Okay, conscience can also be twisted. That's why you have to have the Torah. But generally speaking, you can also have the Torah, and you can twist things around with the Torah also. It's very possible. Therefore, it says, don't believe yourself until the day that you die. Check yourself off. It says, a kosher animal chews its cud. He swallows and it brings it back up. And he thinks about, ruminates, they call it. Do not judge others until you get to their place. You see somebody acting bad, improperly, you don't know what they went through. You don't know what type of psychological battles this person has to fight. You don't know what type of influence he has at home. It could be that his mother just yelled at him, his wife just screamed at him, he got fired from his job, and etc. Don't judge a person unfavorably until you get to his place. And really, you can never really truly get to the place of another person. My teacher, Rabbi Mendel Futafas, told me that the only person that can really get to the place of someone else is the Rebbe. Except it. So therefore, you can never judge another person negatively. Al tomar davar sheyefshar lishmoa shesofo lishama. Don't say about anything that is impossible. No one's going to understand me, because in the end, it will be understood. Well, let's do this. We'll do this in the explanation, in the commentary. And don't say keshe'efna eshne shama lo efne. Never say when I have time, I will learn, because that time will never come. Always, as soon as you get to learn, all of a sudden you get tired, you get hungry, somebody knocks at the door, somebody rings at the phone, right? Your children call you, your friend calls you, something like that. There's always a million distractions. And finally it comes in the nighttime when nobody's going to call you and nobody's going to knock on your door. And it's 1 in the nighttime. No, it's quiet. You can sit and learn. You sit down, go to sleep, and you fall asleep. Right? Fall asleep over the book. You open up a book. That's it. Maybe you'll never have time to learn. Learning Torah is very, very essential. Let's just do this one here we have from the Rambam. Don't say I'm sorry, the Bartanura. Let's do the Bartanura. Don't say that it's impossible. Klomar. Lo yeh devarecha mesupakim. He has a different way. Don't say things in a way that they're mysterious. She'iev shalavinam b'tchila, that you can't understand them. U'be'iyun rishon. But al tomar davar, he says, don't say things that you can't understand it, but in the end you'll understand. Right? There's people like that. They speak, mysteriously. No one can understand. I'm so great. I'm such this is an amazing person. Fantastic. I heard this speech. What a holy person. What did he say? I have absolutely no idea what he said. Nothing whatsoever, but he spoke about the spheros and the upper worlds and this and that. He says, don't talk in mysterious ways. Don't say, and say, then listen, if you want to understand me, you'll have to only deep people that can understand me. Because this brings people to make mistakes on what he said. Maybe they will come out, a person will come out and become an apostate because of the words. It's another explanation. Don't reveal secrets and say that there isn't no one to hear. Don't say, don't, let's say, have a diary or something like that. You write down the secret things that you don't want anybody to know. You say, no one's going to know. In the end, because even if you tell somebody in secret, you'll find out that tomorrow everybody knows about it. Rashi says, Al Tomar Davar she'efshar lishma shesofer lishma. B'divrei Torah, he's talking about the words of Torah. Don't say on the words of Torah that you can listen, you can understand them now, and you'll only understand them later. But rather what you should do is the teacher should explain everything now, and the pupil also should ask questions now so that he understands right now as much as possible. Have a good day with Mashiach now. See you all tomorrow, 8:15 in the morning.